Hey friends, it's Tuesday night, time for our Tuesday Worship Express. As you can see, Bo is here with us again.
Hello.
For those of you who don't know, I'm Meredith. I am the youth leader here at our church, and on Tuesday nights, typically we give some sort of encouraging message. And for the month of September, Bo is going to be joining me. He is my husband, and we're going to be talking about the Love Dare, which goes along with a movie called Fireproof that we talked about last week. We introduced it. So last week we touched on love is patient, and we talked about our cups and how what is put in our cups is what spills out of our cups. And sometimes if that is bitterness and harshness and anger, then that is what spills out, as opposed to love, kindness, patience, and joy. So those are the things that we talked about last week.
We also talked about investing in our marriage, and investing is sometimes taking money, actual finances, and doing something with them. But investing is also investing time. Investment is a big word, but we talked a little bit about that. We'll continue to invest time in talking about investments.
Yes. So tonight, what we want to jump into is. Before anything, we want to make sure that we are tonight, as we want you guys to be doing, is inviting God to be in your marriage, in the middle of it, right there with you. I think that will kind of set the tone for whatever atmosphere you are trying to create within your home and within your relationship. Inviting God to be right there in the middle of it is very important. So, that being said, tonight we are talking about love makes allowances. And so Bo's going to read what it says in the Love Dare about that specific thing.
Yeah, and again, I'm reading from this devotion from the Love Dare. It's a day by day. And as Meredith said, today is love makes allowances. And the scripture reading is Mark 8:2. I have compassion on the crowd because they've already stayed with me 3 days and have nothing to eat. And it goes on and says, is one of you the absent-minded type? Does leaving the house usually involve a frantic search for car keys, followed by another mad dash inside for something you forget? Is your menu planning often a call to the pizza shop? If you had to find the materials to wrap a gift, to hang a picture, or to clean the grill, would you know immediately where to look for them? I don't know. The spouse who is married to someone that struggles at staying organized has an interesting challenge, one that the devil can cleverly exploit to make things worse. His stock in trade temptation is to turn your frustration into an exasperated tirade. It's so easy to do. The proof is hard to refute. But as Jesus felt when seeing the overflow crowd milling around with no real clue about what to do next, you can choose to look with compassion on your discouraged mate. They're frustrated too. A kind word of patience and understanding from you would go a lot further to help them than another angry lecture. Take joy in helping your mate.
I don't know if any of you understand how close to our reality that is. I have 2 stories that I can share with you about that very thing. And Bo has given me permission to share this. When he read about being married to someone who might be absent-minded when it comes to forgetting things or needing to look for things frantically while trying to get out the door, the very first story I can share about that was the night that we were heading to the hospital for Lila to come into the world. And I was ready to go. She was ready to come. And so we get to the car, and it's about 11 o'clock at night, and Bo can't find his wallet. and he was frantically going back and forth from the house to the car, from the house to the car, for about 15 minutes. And I was getting very frustrated. And finally, he found it on the inside door panel in that pocket. And, you know, I try to practice self-control, and so I knew that he was already frustrated with himself. As the book says, people are already frustrated with themselves. We're already hard enough on ourselves, so it doesn't do any good for our partner to point it out and say, you know, you idiot, or whatever, to make it worse. So we got through it. She came into the world. It was fine. It was not a big deal. The second time that happened, we were at the airport, and he was looking again for his ID, and was looking through his bag as we were getting ready to go through security, and he couldn't find it, and he just knew for sure that you left it in the car. So he tells the girls and I to go ahead and go forward through security, and he'll meet us there before we get on the plane. The girls were little at this point, and so he gets to the car. He can't find it. He's rummaging through everything and just decides, well, I'm just going to try to get on the plane without it.
It was in my bag all the time.
The bag that he had already looked through.
It was in this pocket and not this pocket.
Yes.
And I went through and looked for it. But.
So I know that about him. So that's what I make allowances for. Love makes allowances. I'm not going to beat up on him and say, you know, get it together, dude. It's just, that's part of his makeup. And as silly as that sounds, when you've been together with someone for as long as we have, I know that about him. I make allowances, and sometimes we might even allow for extra time to go back and forth and look for the wallet. I mean, it happened this morning. We were leaving the house, and he couldn't find it. So I just sat and drank my coffee in the car and just waited for him, and he finally found it.
What do they talk about in the Love Dare in the movie Fireproof? You know, what do they say that these things are?
I don't know. Not allowances.
Yeah, it's you're making allowances, but there was something else I was thinking that they called them.
I don't know. We'll think of it.
Yeah.
But it's also in Christian terms, it's giving grace, giving grace to the ones that you love, and showing tolerance and acceptance and patience, really.
Yeah.
So
and love is patient.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the connector.
So Bo has one of the frustrating things towards me as well that was also listed in the Love Dare that he just read. So I'll let you talk about that one.
Sure. 18 years we've been together, and in 18 years we've went to the grocery store. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of times, and I just am somebody who, you know, I can't find my wallet when I need to, or my car keys when I need to, but.
Sounds like we're a mess.
I think when you go to the grocery store, you need a list. And for 18 years, we can never seem to put the right list together.
He says we, but he means me.
Yeah. Well, because you go to the grocery store the most.
I do.
And so yeah, so we've had that conversation time in and time out, and so I've learned to say, hey, we'll take a list to the grocery store, but I'm talking about that list that goes on the fridge, that whenever you run out of something, you write it down on the list. And our house just hasn't been able to take that on.
I don't do that. And it's weird because I think my mom did that. And so I don't know why I didn't pick that up. But we also, earlier tonight, we're just talking about birth order and how sometimes firstborn, they have sometimes a different priority level than maybe the secondborn. And I am secondborn. I'm a middle child. So sometimes the things that other people think are really, really important, I just don't. And, you know, I keep the list in my head, and I usually get it wrong. So I usually get home and we don't have everything that we need. So, you know, it's just one of those things. He makes allowances for me because that's frustrating for him.
Well, yeah. And again, making those allowances are knowing. You know, it's kind of like they talk about in the movie Fireproof. It's about, you know, fireproof doesn't mean that there's not going to be a fire. It's just that whenever the fire comes, you're going to be prepared for it.
Right.
Oh, studying. That's what I was thinking about. It's about
studying each other.
Studying your partner.
Yeah.
You know, so whenever when we talk about the list or these things about the car keys, it's not just getting frustrated and mad with them every time it happens, but taking that in as part of your studying of your partner and knowing that that's just a behavior, that's them. And maybe you can help them change it a little bit if it's really that bad for them, and maybe they'll see it, but maybe not. But knowing your partner well enough that's how you start to fireproof your marriage, is knowing things are going to happen, know things are going to happen, and we're not going to get upset about them. We're going to continue to have compassion and love on our partner.
I'm so excited that we're doing this, because as Bo is talking, it's reminding me of some of the things that I know we're going to try to touch on in the weeks to come. And one of those is the idea of studying your partner, kind of the way that you would early stages of when you're dating, and asking questions and really getting to know each other. So I really like that idea. But the other thing we're going to touch on before we wrap it up is going a little bit deeper with making allowances for each other, and a topic that was kind of brought up to us this summer at camp was the topic of grief. And that's a big one, not one we can probably get in a whole lot of talking about tonight, but we want to touch on it. And while you go through your lives together as a married couple, at some point, one or both of you is going to experience tragedy. And it might be tragedy together. It might be one of you loses a parent or a sibling or a friend, or something that the other person needs to be patient and make allowances for you and be very understanding, because we all handle grief differently. And Bo and I have experienced grief within our relationship for different losses that we have had. And one thing that we've learned about each other is we do handle grief differently. And so
one of the things that we got to spend a lot of time talking with a friend this summer, and one of the things that came up that she had experienced grief, and some of the things that she brought to us was, she said that the people that are grieving with you, the people that are in your circle, aren't the people that can help you.
Yeah.
So when we talk about making allowances, that love makes allowances, it's allowing our partners to grieve, and it's also allowing them to get the help and the need to get over that grief somewhere else. And I can, not that we've acted like this, but I can see where men and women might not want their partners to go somebody else or to get helps outside of them, and they might feel threatened by that. And what we've learned is that was an eye-opener to us, that hey, if we're grieving together, it's hard for us to help each other.
Right.
That we need to get outside that circle.
Right. No, I think when we heard that this summer, this friend of ours that was sharing that with us, we were both kind of like, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And before we wrap it up, something else I want to say is that we talked about it last week, and Bo just mentioned it again, that fireproofing your marriage doesn't mean the fire is not going to come, but it means you will be able to have the tools to withstand it. And, we still have arguments. We still have issues that I hope they're not unresolved, but if something comes up again that maybe we brought up a while back, I feel like we're able to work through it better and with more love and compassion. And I think that's the goal of this. It isn't just to be perfect all the time, because that's not reality, but it's to have the tools that we need to be supportive and loving to one another when those things happen. So we want to wrap it up with the dare for the week. And this week's dare is, as a way to demonstrate compassion, find any area in your spouse's life where pain or suffering exists. Ask God to help you find ways to alleviate their pain and to minister to them in love. I like that. So if you are doing this Love Dare and you get a chance to do the Love Dare, maybe you can comment and let us know how things are going, and if you want to, and if not, that's fine. But thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.